everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you're having a great day. I wanted to do a quick art tip video for you, but before I get into it, I wanted to mention my website. It is the best way to get in touch with me and see all the things that I'm up to, especially when you sign up for my email newsletter, which you can do on my website very easily. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page and you can enter your info there, and then just make sure that you find the confirmation link in your inbox or spam folder, and you'll be all set to receive a weekly email from me with all the updates about things I have going on. So that is CoreyFrankCreates.com. I'd love for you to go check it out. Today's video is about watercolor paper and how to get it so it's not so bendy. You can see this piece here where it's very, there's a lot of ripples and waves in it, and this is obviously a piece of paper that I did not pre-stretch beforehand. Stretching your paper is a process you can go through to try and get your paper to lay flat while you paint on it if you're using watercolors. But I tend to be a little lazy at times, and I just want to get to the painting because pre-stretching your paper can be quite a bit of a process. So this is something that you can do after you finish your painting to try and flatten out your paper and just make it sit more flat. So I'm going to show you what that's all about, and you'll be able to see the difference between the before and the after. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right in. Okay, so I have my painting here, and I have this kind of wood panel down on my surface. I want to make sure it's nice and clean, and ideally this would be sealed. This happens to be a raw piece of wood. I really need to seal it, but for today's purposes it's not sealed. But if you're gonna get a board, see, it's just like a wood board, about like, I would say a 1/4 inch thick or so, something like that. So you'll use that and have it sealed. So like you could seal it with gesso or like a clear coating, just to make sure that it's not the raw wood. And then you have your piece, and again I'll show how it's really not laying flat at all. It has all kinds of ripples and waves in it, and this process should really help flatten things out. So what we're going to do first, and ideally you want a piece that has white edges. It's going to be a little harder if you have a painting that goes all the way to the edge of the paper, so just be kind of aware of that. Ideally you want to have some sort of white edge border where there is no watercolor paint. So I'm going to flip this over, and then the other thing you will need a plain piece of watercolor paper, ideally about 140 pound weight, that is a bit larger than the actual piece that you were trying to flatten, so it can lay over the top and just sit completely and go beyond the edges of your piece. So there you will have a 140 pound weight piece of paper there as well. And then the other thing you will need is a nice large flat brush. This is a 3/4 inch flat brush, and of course I also have my jar of water here, which I will be using. So these are steps you take. You put your piece face down. So I'm going to go in, and I've got my brush pretty wet now, and I'm just going to lay down on the back of my painting a layer of water. Nice even layer. You don't want a ton of puddling. You just want to make it wet enough. And of course that makes your paper curl even more, but you want the entire back side of your painting to be damp. A nice thin layer of water over the whole surface. And I live in a very dry climate, so I have to apply a couple times just to make sure it's wet enough. And now you're going to take your clean white sheet, put it right over the top, press it flat, and then you're going to take, for me, I'm going to use a nice heavy stack of books right here. So really big stack, so that it can lay and push everything completely flat while that is drying. So I have laid those down, and I'm going to wait several hours. I would give it, especially because you have books and stuff on top of the wet piece of paper, you want to just give it plenty of time to dry. So I would say you could wait an entire day, or check it maybe after like 4 to 5 hours and see if it's completely dry. And once it's completely dry, then we will be able to see the difference. And I wanted to switch my view here really quickly just to show you how many books I had. So I have 4 really big, heavy books to just make sure that there's a lot of weight pressing down that paper to keep it as flat as possible. So you want to use several coffee size type books, textbooks, things like that. Something that's really thick and heavy should do the trick. Okay, so here we are. It's been several hours and I did check it beforehand to make sure the paper was completely dry, and it is. So I have my stack of books here that I'm going to go ahead and lift off. And then here you can even see this, our flat plain sheet is also quite flat. And now look at this. Compared to how it was before, it is so flat. Compared to the way it was, and because we had this white border, there is no, the paint did not bleed beyond the edges at all, which is great. So that really takes care of it. Here is a side-by-side comparison of how it looked before and how it looks after. So if you're ever in a pinch and you did not pre-stretch your paper and you want to get it to lie flat again, this is a nice sort of hack to achieve those results. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found that video helpful and useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. Until my next one, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. God bless, and I'll see you soon.